Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into college information. My guest today is Molly Lamb. She is the Executive Director for the Center of State Policy and Leadership at University of Illinois, Springfield. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today, Anthony. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and the audience.
Yeah, so usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
So I have three, fortunately. I first attended my undergraduate studies at Illinois Wesleyan University in Central Illinois in Bloomington Normal. And then I attended my graduate studies at the University of Illinois Springfield, where I am presently in my current position, and my doctoral studies at the University of Illinois Chicago.
Wow, fantastic. So let's just go back in time before we get into what you do today. In high school, when did you start thinking about college? Was it freshman year of high school, senior year? When did it all begin for you?
So I was raised in a household where college education was extremely important. So it came much, much before a freshman year in high school, ninth grade mentality for college. I think it was kind of instituted in our household and something that was supported and encouraged from the time I can remember it as a youngster. And so, at the ninth grade period, then I was already kind of thinking about where I would maybe want to study and what curriculum and what studies I wanted to pursue.
Gotcha. So you go on to college, and what'd you think of the university when you get there?
Right. That's a great question. So I came from a really small community of about 1,800 in Central Illinois, and that was important to me in looking for an institution. I knew I wanted to be somewhat close to home. I knew that long term, I also wanted to do that. I was pairing both an athletic endeavor with knowing that I wanted to have studies around health, medical at the time. Being pre-med going in, and then kind of changing what I wanted to do a little bit throughout the course of over the 4 years of undergraduate education. But that was important to me. And then Wesleyan provided an excellent opportunity, has a really wonderful rapport here in Central Illinois and reputation for its stellar academics and athletic opportunity as well. A small campus, a beautiful campus, tremendous facilities, a small student professor ratio, and just students of which and athletes that I was able to meet coming into to the college that I felt really welcomed and had an environment of which I would thrive.
So you go on to graduate school, your MBA? Is that
No,
what you got next?
No, pairing at the end of my undergraduate studies, I was really interested in health. However, I took a detour and decided not to pursue a medical career, but knew that I was still interested in health. And it just so happened at that time, then I learned more and more about public health and population health. So at University of Illinois Springfield, I was able to then pursue a master's of public health and a master's of public administration. And so the balance of those two really enabled me to have a rich career in government public health. And at the time, just after 9/11, I was able to really focus in on public health emergency preparedness during my studies, and really coupling the experience in the classroom and the experience that I was gaining and external to the classroom to then pursue that as a starting point in my public health career in government.
Gotcha. So then after that, you go on to your PhD, and now what are you studying? You're staying in policy and just keep it going?
Sure. So my doctoral studies is actually doctoral of public health and with an emphasis in leadership from UIC, which I just completed this past summer. So I knew that it took about a 10-year stint. So I returned to pursue my doctorate I graduated with graduate studies in 2005 and pursued my doctoral studies about 6 years ago. And I knew what was really important to me is to gain some really practical experience in the public health field and government field to really ensure what I wanted to focus on and study. And that enabled me to then pursue my doctoral studies in a way that then I could apply in the classroom and academically and better pursue and collide the two worlds together, which is a passion of mine, which kind of leads to the current position of which I'm in.
Yeah. So did you go right from your PhD right into the position you're in now, or did you have a couple of avenues?
Sure. So I have always remained a full-time in the workforce. And prior to coming to the University of Illinois Springfield, I was the deputy director of the Office of Health Protection at the Illinois Department of Public Health. And in June 2020, I transitioned to the University of Illinois Springfield, which I was still pursuing my doctoral studies at that time. And so I just finished defending my dissertation in July and conferred my degree in August.
Wow. Fantastic. So now, as the executive director, Center of State Policy and Leadership, what exactly do you do in the position?
Thank you. The center is made up of parts and parcels, I kind of call it, that's been put together for over 40 years. And it's really built on what Sangamon State, which was established prior to the University of Illinois Springfield, on public affairs and public administration, sitting right here in the capital, Springfield, Illinois, which creates such importance. So there's 8 units across the center. It's very broad in its nature, anywhere from the Illinois Innocence Project to the Alliance of Experiential and Problem-Based Learning to the Institute for Legislative, Legal, and Policy Studies, the Institute for Illinois Public Finance, NPR Illinois, the Office of Electronic Media. So we have many units, but in common is the mission for the center. So we have a mission to inform or enhance these citizen decision making and help citizens make more informed decisions. And we do that through promoting evidence-based policy and practice, applied research, education, journalism, NPR Illinois, and through professional development and leadership training.
So, what are some of the policies that you're dealing with right now?
Right. So we work on several different types of policy initiatives and applied research. And so it starts with being data informed. And so many of our projects help with data collection, data analysis, and then analysis of different policy, along with social innovation and public policy research. So we have buckets of which we concentrate, anywhere from we have traffic safety discussion, early education or educational outcomes through an educational collaborative here in the community. We have child trauma and child protection, child welfare. We have wrongful conviction. We have a public health concentration. So we do really have a breadth of buckets of which we look at, and we work through applied research in an effort of understanding policy initiatives. But, we really do a close watch on state house initiatives, especially working with NPR and understanding with the legislature here in Illinois, what changes are being made, what are the legislative initiatives across state agencies, and really ensuring we have a pulse on and with the need of what state agencies and the citizens need in Illinois through our center. So we are really ecstatic about a strong partnership that's just getting stronger with the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus Foundation, of which we have a speaker series, and we've been on about every other month, pulling in the legislative champions, and key stakeholders across Illinois and the community of which are implementing the policy reform for the reform package. So we ensure that we're partnering with strong partners to help the everyday citizen and entities be able to implement policies. And then it helps us also understand gaps and shifts and needs for policy change going forward.
So now, what type of students are getting involved in this? Is this an undergraduate type of program? Is this a graduate type program? What exactly are the students getting themselves into?
So we as a center are pretty proud to say that we are the largest employer on campus for students. And our students, we have many students that work with the Illinois Innocence Project that have an opportunity to work directly on cases. We have students that are employed in the Office of Electronic Media that are learning how to digitize media. They're learning how to do what you're doing today, and that is having a forum like we're having virtual, which is a skill that's needed right now in the world of which we're living. We have graduate assistants that help us with the key research projects of which we're working. We have our wealth of students are actually employed as graduate public service interns that we then place in state mainly state government agencies, but also nonprofits across the state of Illinois, where they're learning practical experience in a 2-year placement program as they're in the classroom.
Gotcha. And so is it mostly undergraduate students doing this, or do you see more of the graduate students doing it?
There's a mix. The graduate public service internship program, obviously that's all graduate level students, master level students that are able to come to UIS and pursue really an interdisciplinary approach. So we have interns that aren't only public administrative majors or political science majors, but they're business majors, pursuing a master's of business, for example. And so they're able to then study their areas of curriculum or study, and then at the same time be placed across state agencies in a match type of approach where the state agencies will interview and so will the students, and then they're placed in the best placement and match for what they want to pursue and what the state agency needs. So that's mainly graduate level. We have a mix though in other areas of the even in the examples I just shared with you between the Illinois Innocence Project, the Office of Electronic Media, our research arm, an area where we have a survey research office area unit that really has a huge concentration on just data collection, right? So there's a mix of students across the center employed. Primarily, though, the largest percentage is graduate students.
So now, what are the students' characteristics or things that they should be studying in school to get involved in this type of field?
Well, what's great is, as we've just discussed, the center is pretty broad. We have a passion and an emphasis and a foundation in public affairs arena, working with government and nonprofits. However, and no matter what agency you're in, there's an interdisciplinary need. There's an interdisciplinary approach for most projects, most work, and systems work, really, and interconnectedness. So that's what's really important to keep in mind. So most of the time, students aren't really aware of the opportunities that are in state government. So we have quite a pleasure and to be able to really kind of share the wealth that we have working with the University of Illinois and its specific concentration with state government and being here in the Capitol and really showcasing to students that are interested in, say, business, but making sure they understand there's opportunity for you in government too. So that's where we spend a lot of our time, and we hope to really kind of increase awareness for students and allow them through different opportunities to gain experience. So one day we hope they walk away and say, oh yeah, this is a great opportunity for us, for me, for a career, especially if living in Central Illinois is a large employer.
Sure. And working in government, do you see the university helping in changing policies in the state of Illinois?
Right. So we have lots of opportunity to do that through research. The center, of course, I just went through several different research opportunities, and then partnering with advocacy agencies, nonprofit agencies, foundations like the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus Foundation, of which we can help them. We can help build their capacity to allow them to do more policy too, and creates a strong partnership of what they want to change and go forward. For example, it's key to evaluate policy, right? In an effort of understanding, is it working, what's not working, what's the gaps, and then create change going forward and helping craft too and working with. So that's where we see we can at the state level. And then in the community, we're really, really active as well. And that is ensuring that we UIS maximize our opportunity for the community and help with economy, help with health factors, help with educational opportunities, especially for those that are in the community, that want to remain in the community, and really kind of help Springfield become, it's thriving, but even a more thriving community. So we UIS, see that we stand ready to help on those fronts.
Now, do you see a lot of students wanting to come into that? Do they get paid for it? Is there any kind of aid that they get from the school for doing something like this? Because a lot of families are always looking for a way of lowering the cost.
Yes, that's right. So we, our graduate public service internship program is just, it's nationally recognized. It is a program of which a student can choose to study at UIS, study or pursue studies of which they desire, and then be an intern that they have their tuition covered for those 2 years. And so they're working 20 hours a semester and then full-time in the summers for a 2-year period of time. And at the end of the day, they gain 2 years of full-time experience, if you will, gain their studies in pursuit of a graduate degree, and walk away without the huge student loan debt and cost. Plus, they have a stipend. So they have tuition coverage and a stipend to live on during that time. So it's a really wonderful program. In other areas of which we employ students, we're paying students. So, they're either hired as what would be referred to as kind of an extra help position. And we do have some volunteer type of projects and some work with students, but when we can, it's important for us to support our students in a way that they can thrive too, and they can spend the time working and gaining and applying their experience in a practical way during their time at UIS.
Yeah. So now, when the students come into it, do you see a lot of students once they graduate, do they stay in that particular government field, or do they move into getting their own business or something like that?
Yeah, that's great question, and something that we're looking at making sure that we have continued better data on, so we understand. To us, it's important when they do, right? That's part of our long-term outcome. We hope to retain those students of which we've built capacity in state government and built capacity with a student in government experience, to have them say, yes, I want to pursue a governmental career. That's step one. Step two is actually ensuring that they then can re-enter as a full-time employee. So we do have those success stories. We have some that decide to pursue other avenues, right? Whether it's private sector, nonprofits. And then we have others that, may decide to not do either. But that is an area that we've monitored, and we have success stories, but we're looking to monitor better so we can help utilize those stories and understand what they are, so then we can help this endeavor going forward.
Now, does the department always look for fundraising opportunities? Are there events that you create, or are there things that people can help and donate?
So the center traditionally has, we have a huge We have quite a large external funded portfolio of which we are working under agreements to complete projects, applied research projects, etc. We have other areas of which we seek out private donations, and we seek out fundraising events. And then we do have some state appropriated funding, of which allows us some minimal capacity for the center to build on to do what it does. So our portfolio and our funding and operational model really lands in those three buckets, and we're always looking at ways in which we can enhance and increase that, and understanding where our funding stops short and where we want to evolve and grow, and figuring out how we can best fill that void.
Yeah. So the type of students are you seeing a lot of students that are undergraduates working in the center?
We do have some. The UIS overall has about 2,600 undergraduate students and just under 1,500 graduate students. And so we do have some undergraduate. The highest percentage of our graduate employment in the center of students on campus that are working in the center, working with projects with us or an internship, are graduate students.
Graduate students. So with the graduate students, do you find after they're in the center, do you find that they are interested in other avenues of the center, like government, and working in the government field?
Sure. So we do have some the graduate public service internship program that I've discussed. They're placed in state or local agencies, sometimes nonprofits. So that's kind of in order of which the largest percentage are. So those are gaining firsthand experience working in the field of government. We have others in the center that are connected, right? Because we're working under an agreement with the state agency, such as the Illinois Department of Transportation on traffic safety project, right? So our students that could be pulled into different types of projects, like a graduate assistant, for example, may be able to gain experience working with a state agency by way of agreement in the center. So we do have those types of opportunities.
And the internships that they go into, is it an all year round type of internship, or is it just from semester to semester?
The Graduate Public Service Internship Program is a 2-year placement. So they're working 20 hours during the semesters and 40 hours during the summers. We have LSIP, which is the Illinois Legislative Internship Program, and there's credit hours they pick up, but they're not full-time students. And then they work 10 months. So their placement's 10 months across the legislature. And then our other students are working more in a capacity of a part-time job, really, and working with different units across. And then we do have some graduate assistants, of course, that would be working kind of similar to the internship program of which I described.
Yeah. So the internship, though, with the amount of hours that they're given, it seems like it's basically almost a full-time type of job. So is this including their schoolwork and what they're doing graduate level as well as this?
So when I refer to 20 hours, that really only includes the hours of which they're placed at an agency, right? So that means their graduate studies, whether it's in the classroom or virtual sense, is on top, plus their hours that they need to actually study, right? So that's all on top of the 20 hours a semester that I refer.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it sounds good. But we're coming to the end of our show, and usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents, the students that are watching the show, that are coming to the school? What advice do you want to give them?
Coming to UIS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first, it's, I have I feel, I'm very fortunate in that I not only am working there now, but I'm an alum, right? So I made the same decision at some point that you parents and students are making to attend and study at UIS, and I have two different perspectives now, being a student and now being a professional. But in the same vein, UIS is a wonderful community. It's a really warm, welcoming environment. The campus is beautiful. The facilities are just growing and evolving, and the master plan shows that and demonstrates that. And there is support and encouragement for that, and a priority of that. We have really solid professors and opportunities with research and innovation. We have key projects that are really exciting and that show that we're moving, we're modernizing, we're leaning forward, such as what will be an innovation hub. We don't know the official name that we're going to be naming it, but it will have concentration. It'll allow Innovate Springfield, which is a current business incubator and social innovation hub, to grow. It'll have commercialization and technology, an increased emphasis on public policy research, workforce development, and social innovation. We have the center and the Center of Lincoln Studies. We have, the Center of State Policy and Leadership I spoke of. We have other type of institutions and centers that allow students to connect and really have practical experience, which I think is important. We at UIS want you to have that experiential problem-based learning, so that you're not just learning in the classroom, but you have opportunity to apply. Our Alliance for Experiential and Problem-Based Learning is a new unit in the center that's its entire concentration and importance of that in different lines of work, and they're growing and evolving. So it's definitely, if you've already chosen UIS, you've chosen right. And then after you've chosen right, my main advice and recommendation is just to ensure that you're taking opportunities, you're asking questions, you're having conversations across campus, you're making sure and asking for help, understanding connections that can be had, and then diving in. And don't say no until you just are tipping off your plate, right? There's just so much opportunities. And the small class size, it's about a 15-to-1 ratio between students and professors, which is just allows that intimacy for you to learn in the classroom and grow in the classroom, and your professor to know you, to help connect to those persons across campus and in our community that can help a student really grow. And at the end, when they're graduating, be really set and ready for whatever career they choose to pursue.
Well, Molly, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I really, I appreciate the opportunity you've given me and UIS today. So thanks so much.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.